Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. Today we will discuss about the selection shot. We already have discussed about the mod shot and the bubble shot. So selection shot is a little bit easy, and it is also the time complexity of selection shot is O of n square. So what is selection shot? Let's understand what is the algorithm of the selection shot. So let's say you have an array. You have 2, 1, 3, 9. You have to sort it in the ascending order. So what you will do in the selection sort algorithm, in this algorithm you have to select in each counter, you have to select one elements at a time and compare it to the other elements of the array. So like in the first counter you will select 2, so you will compare 2 with the remaining elements of the array. So I'll do that, and I'll do that like you will in the outer loop, you are in the outer loop, you are just pointing out the 2, and you will do the inner loop, execute the inner loop from let's say it is I, so you will execute the inner loop from I plus 1 to the end of the array. Okay, so let's compare 2 with 1, and we have to do it in the ascending order. So if this element is less than the selected element, so we need to swap it. So 1 is lesser than, so 1 2 3 9, then it will compare 1 with 3. If the 3 is lesser than 1, then 3 will swap, but 3 is not lesser than 1, and then it will compare 1 with 9. Then in the next counter, ith element is 2, and it is comparing 2 with the remaining elements. We already got the smallest element in 1, so we need not to compare it again. So we are starting from I plus 1 again to the ending element of the array. So every time what we are checking, every time we are just taking one element and it is comparing with the I plus 1 to the length of the array, and every time we are checking with the elements. If the element is lesser than the selected elements, then we are swapping. So it is like it is easy to understand if we compare it to the mod shot, but mod shot is obviously mod shot is more optimized. So let's go to the coding part. Okay, so before going to the coding part, you all know that I have an algorithm visualizer. Here you can visualize the sorting algorithms. Here also I have implemented the selection sort, so you can also do the selection sort. You can see that one second. You can see that when I'm clicking the selection sort, every time the smallest element is storing at the first, it is checking from the first to last. At each step, what is the algorithm visualizer actually doing? That at each step, at each counter, we are taking 2, then we are comparing 2 with 1, then 1 is swapped 1, then 1 is compared to the 3, 1 is compared to the 9. In every step, the smallest integer present in the array in this length, at first in this length, at second counter in this length, at third counter in this length, the smallest element every time it is storing to the I. When it is I, it is the smallest element 1. You can see when it is when the 2 is I, the smallest element of this length is 2. When the 3 is I, the smallest element of this length is 3. In this way the selection sort actually works. So just jump into the coding. I guess it is not hard to understand the selection sort. So just I'm into the Linux, so it doesn't have any editor, so I'm using the online editor. If you guys don't have the editor, just don't worry, no worries. Just search in the Google that the online compiler C, they will give you an online compiler. There are a lot of compilers, C, C++, Java, there are a lot of compilers. So just run. What I'm doing, just I'm taking a integer, I'm checking, one second, just go to the C++. I'm a little bit comfortable in C++, nothing different in C++, but I'm just a little bit comfortable using namespace std. Okay, So just I need to take an integer. What is n? N is the length of the array. So I am taking n. By the n I am taking the array. I'm taking the array. So how I'm so now we need to take the input elements of the array. So I starting from 0 and I less than n. So I in array of I. So we have got the array. So now we need to implement the selection sort. And one thing, like how many times the counter works, the outer loop works, how many times it is selecting 2, then 1, then 3 and done. Means length, if the length is 4, then the outer loop will be 4 minus 1 3, because we need to just check until 3, because after that 3 there is only one element, so it is already sorted. So the outer loop will be n minus 1. So the outer loop will be n minus 1. So I equals to 0 to I less than n minus 1. Why it is I less than n minus 1? Because I am starting from I equals to 0. If you start from I equals to 1, then it will be I less than equal to n minus 1. So just understand, if my length is 4, then I less than 3 means I need to the outer loop need to execute 3 times. So 0 1 2. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 times. So that is it, nothing different. So now we have to implement the inner loop. What is the inner loop? I am selecting what is the inner loop. Just understand what is the inner loop. In each outer loop, we are selecting the first element. We are comparing the first element with the I plus 1 to the length of the array. So what will be the inner loop? Inner loop will be start from I plus 1 obviously, and j less than n, because it need to execute from I plus 1 to end of the array every time. So and what we are checking, what we are swapping, we need to do it in the ascending order. So if any I plus 1 is lesser than I, then it should take place to the I, because we need the smaller element at the beginning. So if I plus 1 is smaller, then it need to swap to the ith element. So if array of I plus 1 is smaller than array of I, then we need to swap. So I will swap using XOR operators. It is easier to swap. So array of I plus 1, so array of I equals to array of I plus 1, and just copy it and paste it 2 times, then I plus 1. So it is swapped. I think what we are comparing every time from I plus 1, sorry, not I plus 1, it is it will be array of j, because in the j we are storing I plus 1 and j is increasing. So I plus 1 is fixed obviously, so we need to compare with j to the ith element, because j is increasing and I is fixed. So j is increasing. At first j is in 1. If the jth element is smaller, swapped. Then j plus 1, it is comparing to the I in this time, because means j is variable but I is fixed every time. So it will be j. Sorry for the mistake. I guess you all understand what is the logic. So that, and now check if my result is right or not. See out array of I, then just this. Now run it. Here is a run option. So at first, what we are taking the length of the array. So like length of the array, and giving length of the array is 5. We need to give the then 5 elements in the array. So 4 1 2 7 3, and it is giving us the correct result 1 2 3 4 7. It is sorted in the ascending order. So that's it for today. It is a small lecture because the algorithm is easier to understand. I think you all guys have understood. If guys have any problem to understand, you can ask me in the comment section. You can also ask me in the LinkedIn, Insta, anywhere. I'll give you a reply. And the other sorting algorithms like quick sort, what is that? Quick sort, insertion sort will obviously come.